Hi guys, so today's video is going to be my summer TBR, but with a little bit of a twist, because rather than just saying, hey, here's all the books I'm gonna read, I'm also going to be ranking them based off of which ones I'm predicting I'm gonna like the most and the least and everything in between. Before jumping into it though, a shout out to today's sponsor, which would be Campfire. Campfire is a tool, a resource for writers who are looking to flesh out their story and their world and their characters. They have so many features on this that just allow you to get everything out that you could possibly think of, and I actually think it helps you think even further than you might have otherwise. So instead of just using Word documents or note cards, so many of their tools are going to help you think, oh yeah, I probably should know the history of this building, or oh, maybe this character, I should flesh out their relationship with these other characters. What's their history? And you can attach images to things. I've kind of compared it to like The Sims, but for your own world, because it really allows you to elaborate and be very extensive with your story. I'll have that linked down below. I don't get anything from you using the link. I try to always be transparent about whether it's an affiliate link or not. It is not. It's just exposure for all of you and a link for your convenience. But jumping into my summer TBR, I'm not going to elaborate on the books, their synopses, and things like that. I'm just going to give you a rundown of the books that I'm hoping to get around to in the next 3 months. In no particular order, we have Invasion of the Tearling, Dry, Bandits, City of Girls, Sailor Moon, Slay, Wicked Fox, Underground Railroad, Lynn Ascends, Wild Card, Borderline, Foundry Side, Night Watch, Best Served Cold, Song of Wraiths and Ruin, The Queen's Thief, Mask of Shadows, Queen of Blood, the sequel to that, Song Below Water, and Unravel the Dusk. So I have already kind of ranked them where I think they're gonna go, but then sometimes when I start talking through where I've placed them and I let you all know what I'm thinking, then I realize, oh wait, maybe I won't like that as much as I think. So of the 20 books that I'm actually going to be ranking, I'm going to start at the bottom. I don't think I'm going to hate any of these books. It's just one of them has to be at the bottom. And so I think, ironically enough, because this is one of the buddy read books for the next 3 months, I'm going to put Bandits at 20 because this is a genre I don't normally pick up. This is a book that my husband picked for the buddy reads because he has read things by this author before that he really liked, but then he's also read stuff by this author he doesn't like as much. So I feel like he doesn't even know if this is going to be something he really enjoys or doesn't. And then I don't normally read that kind of stuff as often. I am trying to branch out and read other genres a little bit more since I primarily read fantasy, but I just don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. I have a similar thought with the next one at number 19, which would be Dry by Neil Shusterman. This was something that I was intending on picking up last quarter, but I just didn't get around to it. And actually this quarter I think fits it better because this is about what if we run out of water and then everybody's thirsty and it's super hot where I live and it's summer. So I feel like it's maybe going to be too relatable. Next we have Invasion of the Tearling. I'm putting this at 18 because I loved the first one, Queen of the Tearling, so much, but I have heard such negative things about the sequels. I've heard some people say the second one is actually still pretty good, but the third one is where things didn't work out for them. So I'm just not sure. Next at number 17 is Wild Card by Marie Lu. Ever since reading The Kingdom of Back, which I loved so dearly, I have really wanted to pick up more Marie Lu's books, and I have heard that Wild Card isn't the best one of hers, but I want to pick it up because I also am picking up Slay this next quarter, and both of these have to kind of do with video games, so I wanted to read both and then compare them and see which one maybe I just enjoyed more. Next up in the number 16 spot, sorry Joshana, my friend Joshana from Joshanacy loves this book. I haven't read it yet and she doesn't care, but I'm putting City of Girls at 16. This is another one of the buddy read books, and I'm planning on picking this up around Joshana's birthday because Joshana is a dear friend of mine, and I like picking up books around people's birthdays that they really like, so it's something that I can chat with them about. Just, I don't know, I just think it's kind of a fun little extra present, if you will. It sounds really funny and really entertaining, but it is almost like a I'm going to tell you my life story type of setup, and it's fiction, and I don't know, I don't know if I'm going to love it and it's going to hit me and I'm going to think that it's as endearing as she does, or if I'm going to be like, yeah, that was all right. The number 15 spot, we have Borderline, and I have a feeling a lot of you have not heard of this book. So when I was doing my You Choose My TBR, this was one of the ones for mental health representation that I was like, you know what? All the other books in here, they sound really good, the other 4 books that I'd picked for this category, but this one just, there was something about it that I was like, that's the one I want to read over pretty much all the rest of these. So I didn't put it up for vote because I knew if you guys voted for something else, I'd be a little bummed out. The mental health that is represented in this story, I guess something about that mental health thing that this person has, the main character, makes them a good candidate to supervise and monitor there's like a parallel dimension where there's fairies and things like that. And so their mental health thing allows them to be better suited for doing this. Or it sounds really, it sounds really unique and really cool. And I've never really heard anybody talk about it. But I have it ranked on the lower end because I just don't know. I have never heard anybody talk about it, and I don't really know too much other than what the synopsis says, and the synopsis sounds really interesting, but also these sci-fi type stories, they either are really impactful, or I'm just like bogged down by the sci-fi elements. Is that a terrible thing to say? Next up, I have Night Watch, and this is actually a translated work that I've not really heard too many people talk about, but I was really surprised because when I occasionally like to look at best of fantasy book lists and to see, you know, what books consistently end up at the top or which ones are randomly on a list that I've never heard of, and I'm like, I've never heard anybody talk about this, but apparently it's one of the best. Well, what's that about? So Night Watch is a book I've had for a long time. I picked it up at my local used bookstore. I read the back of the book, very old-fashioned way of getting a book, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I, again, kind of like with Borderline, I was going to have a list of translated works for you guys to vote on, but this one just, I don't know, it seemed pretty interesting. But I also, again, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Sometimes translated works, like Witcher, for example, they just have a different writing style, or they have almost like the themes are represented differently, and it's sometimes something I really enjoy, and other times it takes some getting used to, or maybe I just don't click with it, so that's why this one's slightly more on the lower end. Next up, we have A Song Below Water, and this is about black mermaids, and I just thought this was on my You Choose My TBR, and this one didn't win, and I'm still going to read the one that did win, but this one just, it seems so perfect for summer, you know? Like, I'm hot, and I'm thirsty and sweaty all the time, and I'm just gonna wish I was a mermaid. At number 12, we have Sailor Moon, and I have no problem admitting that I don't think I'm going to absolutely love this, but I have so much nostalgia for Sailor Moon that I'm pretty sure I'm going to at least enjoy it, no matter how ridiculous or cheesy it is, because I loved Sailor Moon as a kid. I'd wake up super early in the morning and I would sit and watch Sailor Moon before school, and eventually they stopped playing Sailor Moon on TV. We didn't have cable, so maybe it was on cable, it probably was, but on regular programs, on regular channels, they didn't have it anymore. And my little heart was broken because I loved Sailor Moon and I am very obsessive, and when I didn't have it anymore, I'm like, what is life? There was this store that I don't even think is a thing anymore, but it was called Suncoast, and it was at the mall, and Suncoast sold VHS of Sailor Moon. I think it had 3 episodes. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. This doesn't matter, but I had like a whole shelf in my closet filled with these VHS of Sailor Moon, and I just loved it so much, and as an adult, I have started watching it again, and I just laugh because it's so ridiculous and not politically correct at all, which is kind of funny to me. So I have a feeling that I'm just going to be happy reading it. It's probably, I don't know, I probably shouldn't love it so much, but gosh darn it, it's hard not to. At number 11, we have Unravel the Dusk, which is the sequel to Spin the Dawn. I don't think that the sequel is going to make it so that this is an absolute new favorite top 5 or anything like that, but I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy it. At number 10, we have Lynn Ascends, and this, I have a feeling, is going to be one of those hidden gems that I'm going to feel really excited about reading, and I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to shove it in everybody's face. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen, because I have seen so many people, when they talk about underrated fantasy books, mention this one. At number 9, we have one of the winners from the You Choose My TBR, and that would be Wicked Fox. And this is one that is Korean inspired, and this girl, she kind of feeds off of people, and then she ends up encountering this person that she kind of has the hots for a little bit. Some of my favorite books end up being heart-wrenching, and I'm just torn apart, and I'm so close to crying that when I get a story that's just a good old time, you know, sometimes I need that, okay? It's like, we just need that sometimes. Sometimes you gotta watch a comedy in between all the dramas. At number 8, I have Mask of Shadows, and this was one of the ones, again, that I was originally gonna have all of you vote on LGBTQ+, a book for that, and I was like, you know what? I want to read Mask of Shadows, but I haven't heard too many people talk about it. I remember possibly Literate talking about it a long time ago, and I think they ended up enjoying it, but I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. That one is one where I could see that one ranking lower. I don't know that I would put it higher, but if I changed things around, I don't know, maybe I could actually put that at 10 and then bump Lynn Ascends to 9 and Wicked Fox to 8. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to change it. At number 7, we have Slay. It's about kind of our world, and it discusses a lot of things to do with race, but through the passion of a teenage girl and this video game that she's kind of helped develop. At number 6, we have Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. This is part of his First Law trilogy's world. It's one of the standalones that he has written that I've heard such good things about. I meant to get to it before, and then my library didn't have it. Next up, we have Queen's Thief. I am so excited about this because this is one of those fantasy stories that's not as new. I've just heard it's so good, and I also saw, when looking for books that kind of show mental health, I've heard that one of the characters in the series has depression, and I mean, my boy Kaladin in Stormlight Archive, oh my gosh, do I love him so much. And also just the relatability of that. It just, if it's done well, it can really hit me. So I'm excited to see that. I don't know if that character, if that particular one shows up in the first book, but the first book's really short. So if I like it, I feel like it's one of those I can just binge it and pick up the next couple. In the number 4 spot, we have The Reluctant Queen, which is the sequel to Queen of Blood. And Queen of Blood is an adult fantasy story that has one of the most interesting, engrossing settings I've come across. It's this really creepy forest setting. I've heard fantastic things about the sequels. In fact, I've heard some people say the second one is their favorite. So if we can build on the first one, which I already enjoyed, if we can build on that, I have a feeling I'm going to just really love it. Number 3, we have A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. This is one of the ones that won from your votes for You Choose My TBR. I'm really excited about this story. I think beforehand, before I'd really heard anybody talking about it, because it is newer, I could have ranked it lower because I'm like, oh, it sounds good, but that's, you know, the extent of it. Oh, it sounds good. But I've been seeing people really love it, so I'm hoping that it's gonna be a new favorite. At number 2, we have Foundry Side. This one you did not have be the winner for the category it was in for the You Choose My TBR. The winner was actually The Bear and the Nightingale, but with the books that won, I'm planning on reading those within the next 6 months, and so for these first 3 months, because it's gonna be hotter, I just thought it would make more sense to read the other one. I don't know, I just thought this would probably be a better read for when it gets colder, The Bear and the Nightingale. So Foundry Side, I still really want to read. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and put it on my summer TBR. There's something about it that just, it feels like a good summer read because it seems kind of like action and there's like coding almost. It just sounds like a cool action movie, sort of a vibe to it. And that just feels very summery to me. So that's why I've got that one up so high. At number 1, we have Underground Railroad. Once again, this did not end up winning this category for the You Choose My TBR. It actually was beat by Slay, but my husband has told me that this is really amazing. He really wants me to read it. I also really want to read it. I think it's going to hit me, and then I'm going to be contemplating life. Looking back at my ranking, there was one thing I changed. Nobody cares. And I'm swapping one thing up and then the thing above it down, and that would just be Lynn Ascends. I'm putting that up just a little bit higher above Wicked Fox. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.